Hey, what's up there, world, internet, self, and you? Of course, you as an individual, as a specific human being. You know, it's funny. It's I kind of started this without a real framework for how I'm going to have a discussion. There's a few different things that were just on my mind. One was mostly just about how much we've devolved in our conversations. And the internet has allowed this to happen, but the internet's not the cause of it. And in order to kind of address this, I'll compare it to something else like, well, let's just say, let me start off with, I guess, the two camps that I see as people believing that the internet has become a cesspool. One of them is the fact that, well, let's just call it TikTok. TikTok syndrome. This is what I feel is probably one of the most dangerous things that we're facing as far as the new generations coming up. I know that might sound alarmist. I do realize that these things have constantly been worried about for centuries. It's always the next thing. Oh, radio's going to kill the kids, and rock and roll is going to make them satanic, and on and on. The TV and everything else. But the truth is, a lot of this has turned out to be true. TV has made us kind of zombies. And when I was a kid, I was able to, at least even when I was younger, I knew that the TV was feeding you a narrative. Couldn't know the full truth, and we still can't today, but the point being that the television has always been used as a propaganda tool. It's the first and foremost propaganda tool from anybody who wants to convince you of something. And there was an old kill your television sticker you've probably seen from like back in the 70s or 80s. And it was very, despised back then, the way that these major networks were taking over. Now, this was in the 80s, far before any of the shit that took hold later with CNN and their 24-hour news coverage and breaking news, so-and-so celebrity did this and that. It's after O.J. Simpson, the whole media just went downhill, just became 24-hour nonsense. And once the internet came around, there was a hope that we could get away from this and finally inform ourselves. And I believe that we have gotten to that point. However, there's a major hiccup. And some people think of it as the internet's been ruined or destroyed. No, no, no. This is all just a process. Everything that we do is a process of learning and experiencing. We move forward, we fall back. There are two camps, as I said. One of them is the short-term TikTok issue with the internet. People want short sound bites, they want clips, they want information quickly, they want to be able to move on with their day. That's why people watch a quick morning news brief so they can get on with their day and know what's happened in the world and what's happened in their country and with whatever's going on in their neighborhood. And often, if you watch the local news, that's true. You hear about an accident or a shooting, you quickly realize over a period of time of watching the news that, wow, they only talk about shootings all the time. They're always talking about negative things. And this is well known, that things always appear worse than they are if you watch it on television. Well, the internet's done the exact same thing. But, like I said earlier, you don't blame the internet, you blame the users. I was going to compare it to McDonald's. Most people know that McDonald's is shit food. And if you eat it, then you'll probably get fat. You'll probably not be healthy if you eat that regularly. So, people still go there because they make that choice. And they say, I know I shouldn't eat this, but I'm going to do it anyway. We make the choice. We can complain about the restaurant, but if we go there, and mind you, I don't think I've been there in at least 10, 12 years. I think when I'm on the road, sometimes I'll grab something. I'm not virtue signaling. Believe me, if I'm hungry enough, I'll eat anything. We eat Wendy's, we eat fast food sometimes. But the fact is, I know when I do that I have to limit that, and I have to make sure that I take care of myself. Well, the same thing with the mental consumption patterns, but we can't control it. The dopamine rush is too great to watch a 15-second video of somebody falling on a bunch of milk crates. And that's something that makes us laugh, and that's fine. Looking at little media clips, like, think of America's Funniest Home Videos. These were short clips of people doing funny things. It was great. But after that, you moved on with your long-form discussions. And this word is what brings me to the other side of the internet. Not just the short attention span seeking quick videos, quick fixes, or the news, or whatever it might be. But the far other side, which is information and long-form discussion. And that's why what made me think about talking about this subject was what happened with Joe Rogan a few days back, where he actually, I'm sure people have seen it all by now. Says 270 doctors signed a letter to Spotify to try to get them to cancel Joe Rogan because he's spreading misinformation and that's harmful. You know, blow it out your ass. People don't care about that shit anymore. Joe Rogan is way too big to censor or to stop. He doesn't need a platform. And all you do when you pretend to send a letter from all these doctors, which, by the way, most of them weren't even real doctors. A lot of them couldn't practice medicine by themselves. Some was a veterinarian. One of them was a podcaster. This is a complete joke. It's a farce. But the bigger question isn't who are the doctors or why did they do this, but rather we know that Joe Rogan is way bigger than any of the media companies at this point. And I know that they play it cool, but they're scared. They don't know what to talk about. For the last 4 years, they talked about Trump. And now they don't have much to talk about with Biden, so they have to talk about COVID, even though COVID's pretty much going by the wayside. That the UK removed all their restrictions the other day, and a lot of countries like Australia are still living in the past. Some archaic bullshit going on there, but all of that is out there. The point being that what really matters is what we do in our own lives that helps us and benefits us as our communities, as our family and friends, and the way that we live our lives. So I can only speak from the heart and the things that I learn. But the irony here is that long-form conversation is what they're trying to shut down. You don't hear that in the media anymore. There's no journalistic integrity. There's no amazing, late night CNN thing where they go out and they explore the world and they talk to people. Wow, imagine that, like going out and doing things. No, most of the news channels have admitted and is knowing that it's just basically entertainment. Call it infotainment if you want, but we know this. We're aware of this. They've admitted this, and yet we still trust their experts or some random guy they bring on that's like, oh, I used to think this way, but now I think this way. Or, the local story about a guy who didn't have his shots who died, and he shouldn't have been outspoken. They revel in pointing out specific cases for everything that make their points look right, rather than getting down to the bottom of what's actually going on. So, at any rate, Joe Rogan basically has him nailed to the wall. He can have a guy on for 3 hours and they talk about stuff, and all the media can say about him is that we want him gone because he's spreading misinformation and he believes weird things. But doesn't everyone? I mean, are you going to try to shut down all the churches in America because Christians believe weird things? Of course not. Because most Christians don't think they believe weird things. And that's not meant as a jab at Christians. It's meant to say, who gives a shit what people believe? Let people live their fucking lives the way that they want to live them, as long as no others are harmed. And that's what brings us into kind of an issue of, well, who's being harmed? How dangerous is A or B or C? Should a person be allowed to, endanger another through driving too fast, right? And get into all these, what become laws and rules and regulations in a society. And since people don't know where to turn to get the truth anymore, they're going to stop giving a shit. And when they stop giving a shit, that should be alarming for all the people in all corners of the world, as well as the media, because the media knowingly omits things that they should be talking about, and we know this. It's to their own demise that they don't, and they continue to fall farther and farther, which pushes people to listen to A or B or C. This guy has the truth, or this guy has the truth. Now look, I don't look up to Joe Rogan and think that he's a genius. I don't think that all the facts... in fact, I know most of the people who make the claims about him basically are the type of people that don't have the attention span to sit and listen to 3 hours. And even if they do, they're often already have made up their mind before they even start, so they're just going, oh, this guy's full of shit, this guy's full of shit. I've heard things I didn't want to hear on his podcasts. I've heard people say things that I didn't agree with all the time. But I keep listening and I say, well, why does he feel this way? Why does he think this way? 5 years ago, I might have said, yeah, conservatives are the bad guys, or far left or far right, whatever it might be. It's all people working together that makes a society run. There is nobody to blame as a whole group because most people are on the same page. We just want information that benefits our lives. It's a very simple concept. And when people feel lied to, when they feel like they can't trust the sources that are claiming to be the legitimate sources for information, people get angry. And when people get angry, they rise up. So my point, I guess, on that is no amount of censorship will work in the 21st century. We're living in a different time now. Information can spread through, as long as we have an internet available, it will be a conveyor of information. Even if people have to go to the dark web and share torrent files full of, science articles. And by the way, a lot of science articles are locked up through like JSTOR. The information that the taxpayers have paid into companies, into corporations' research, it's locked up, and a lot of it can't be accessed by the general public. So people start saying, well, what the hell am I supposed to do if I can't even look things up for myself? And then you find out that some people leaked those files, and then they ended up getting imprisoned for life for, treason for sharing information that should have been shared in the first place. And it's a very strange time to be alive. The digital trail makes it even more complicated. But still, I guess my point to sum it all up would be we need to stop looking at things so black and white. And I think we're starting to come into that. People are moving back to that long form discussion. And it seems like a lot of people have really learned how to talk one another the way that, the internet makes it more difficult, especially when you're messaging and leaving comments and people are responding and misinterpreting each other. But you kind of know when somebody's being a dick. Like a good example would be this morning, I was flipping through right before I started making this video. I had uploaded a short yesterday of my husky in the little kid swimming pool. She was like laying in it by the fence. And somebody left a comment that said, what was it? Gen X scum. And I was like, well, kind of made a joke about how she's only 2 years old. But of course I know that's probably aimed at me. But I thought about it for a minute and I thought, what does it take for a person to go onto a video about a husky, and say Gen X scum as an insult to someone? It's weird, but it's not surprising. And some people just get angry sometimes. They want to take it out on others. But often it's misinterpreted. But, it's weird to me that, I don't know, the anonymity of the internet has made it easier for people to just say whatever they mean, or say what even they don't mean, just to get responses or attention. And people have kind of moved past that. In other words, the shock value of somebody saying, Jews did it, that's all worn off, at least for most of us. Most people have learned that being overly sensitive about things only keeps bringing it back and more people do it. Like if something really bothers you, just walk away from it, just avoid the problem. Just don't buy into it. But sometimes, of course, we're continuously faced with it. And there is a lot of hate online. And often that's just a misunderstanding. People just don't know who they are. They don't know what's right. They just want to blame somebody else for their problems, whether it be a religious group or a race or any other culture or people within their own group. There's a lot of self-deprecation and self-hatred out there. But I guess I just wanted to say that it's sad that people lash out at one another because they're frustrated about things and they don't know where the truth is or what to look for. They don't know the facts. And we're all in kind of the same boat, I guess. We've just got to derive the best conclusions about everything. That includes how to live our lives, how to raise our children. Probably one of the hardest things. It's like, am I doing the right thing for my kids? Should I give them more rules or less rules? What is the right thing for kids today and the future? Is TikTok going to make better kids for the future because everything's going to be short attention span? And I won't even get into the whole metaverse crap. I definitely will not be involving myself in that. So at any rate, just kind of a ramble, Saturday ramble. We're going to go take the kids to a Nerf gun war here in a couple hours. That should be fun. I guess they supply the Nerf darts and the kids bring guns and you sign up and they just put on goggles and run around and just shoot each other. Good old childhood fun. And On that note, it just made me think about those parents out there who are like so anti-gun that I would never let my child shoot a Nerf gun. Not only somebody might get hurt, but they might end up picking up a real one someday. Oh my goodness. And I was raised to understand how to shoot, so I'm not surprised by the parents who just don't understand that firearms aren't, you can't hide a kid from it. Like, kids are going to always be exposed to this shit. It's just the world we live in. But it's just, I was thinking about the helicopter parents of today and how extreme parenting can be opposite. I've known parents that kept their kids totally away from technology, and others who just let their kids do whatever they want on technology, which I've been guilty at times. My son is a gamer and he codes and stuff, and so, he's getting to that age. He's almost a teenager, and it's hard because they're growing up in a different world than we did, and it's a continual change. I'm just learning from my experiences in life. I'm trying to learn to move forward, trying not to base who I am now on who I was in the past, rather that what feels right and what works in life. And yeah, sometimes it's hard to know. So those are my random thoughts for the day. Thanks for listening. Talk to y'all next time. Be well. Give somebody a hug and peace out.